Hey everybody, so HRCYED 2.0 is done. So by my calculations, I started HRCYED 3 on July 1, or a little before then, because I was pretty much done with HRCYED 2. So HRCYED is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, hosted by Q or QWERTY, Stephanie over at QWERTY on YouTube. Check her out. This last year was the second year she's done it. I missed out on the first year. I jumped on the bandwagon for the second year. I was a few days late. I say a few days late. She starts it every year in July on her birthday, the 6th or 7th or whatever. Sorry, I'm drinking my morning coffee. So she starts it in July and goes through the end of June for the following year. Anyways, HRCYED 2.0, I jumped on the bandwagon, and here's my bingo board for it, and I'm missing one square. And I knew when I went into this challenge that was going to be one of my biggest challenges. So it's by the 100s is the one that I'm missing, because I don't read long books, and so I knew it was going to be a struggle for me to read a 600-page and a 700-page book, and it was. And so excuse me, I did submit my stuff on the website, her Canva website, spreadsheet kind of thing. No, it wasn't a spreadsheet. It was just where you could enter your submissions. I did not do the spreadsheet. She has a whole spreadsheet created with all the prompts and all that. I did not do that because I'm not a techie girl, and I don't do spreadsheets very well, and so I'm very analog, and so we created the challenge in my reading journal. And so here we are. So I wanted to kind of go over this, let you know how HRCYED 2 went for me, and let you see the pages that I've done. And then I'm in the process of working on HRCYED 3, reading books and getting my journal put together, so I'll do another video with that. But HRCYED 2.0, again, I got everything but the by the 100s. And the secret prompts, the bonus prompts, I didn't do so well with, mainly because I'm not on Reddit and I'm not on Substack or whatever, wherever she mainly is doing these. I follow her on Instagram, I follow her on YouTube, but I didn't see the secret prompts very well on that. So I just kind of abandoned that. So let's jump into it. And these are mostly in order, but for spacing, I had to shift some things around. So by the 100s, I got to 500. Again, 600 and 700 I did not do. I had books planned for them, but I just didn't get to it. So, again, I'm not surprised. I'm even surprised I made it to 400 and 500, because I don't typically read long books like that. So, 24-hour readathon. I did that fairly early. I did it in August last year. 19 hours. Started at 8 a.m., ended at 3 a.m. I read a whole bunch of small books, 7 books total, 1,080 pages. Like I said, I read some smaller books, 120 pages, 130 pages, things like that. But I did, complete that. My subgenre was horror. Excuse me. And I went with horror because I don't typically read horror. But interesting enough, I find that I'm kind of interested in it. So, the whole idea of doing reading challenges is to expand your reading and diversify your reading. And so this is a prime example of that happening. So subgenre, I did horror. My subgenres were dark romance, creepy kid, monster, killer, psychological, and gore. So I completed all of that. Series Staircase was another one I thought I was going to have a little trouble with. I don't typically read series because I I just don't, because I struggle with keeping up with what's next and whatever ed, and then they come out with a 0.5, and so I just typically don't do series. But I did pretty okay with this. The duology that I chose, since choosing that, she's come out with another one. It's the Nevessa Allen. It's now a trilogy. Lights Out, Caught Up, and I can't remember the other one. But when I chose this, there was only 2 out, so that's completed. Award season. This one I struggled with a little bit, mainly because I was trying to find the awards. I struggled with finding them, but I did. So the prompt was a winner, a finalist, a semifinalist, and an entrant, and then you could do 3 other ones. And so the 3 other ones I did: TikTok Shop Book of the Year, Lincoln Award nominee, and a Goodreads Choice Award nominee. So all those are awarded for something. TBR game, I did OC TBR October. For the month of October, I tackled these little prompts. My air just kicked on, so it's going to be a little loud, so I'll talk a little louder until it goes off. It's in the middle of summer, so I'm not turning it off, so we'll just have to talk over it. OCTBR, how many can I read the month of October? I used these cute little pumpkin prompts and pulled from my TBR stack. I did all of them but one, and this prompt was work over 50 years old. I had it penciled in, but I didn't do it. So, but I pretty much completed it. I did 7 books, so that's pretty good for tackling my TBR for that month. So, the last 10 years, I did the whole spectrum from 2015 to 2026. All those completed. Disability prompts. These were kind of tricky for me, but I managed it, and we got, let's see here, there's 5 different disabilities. All the adaptations, I thought this was a lot of fun. I went full on with this, and so like for the musical, I read the book and I watched the musical, and I read the graphic novel and I watched I read the graphic novel and I read the book, and I did both of them. They're smaller books, older books, but like on the web series, The Handmaid's Tale, I read the book and I watched season 1. The TV show, The Hunting Wives, I watched season 1 on Netflix and I read the book. Animation, Caroline by Neil Gaiman, and I watched the Caroline 2009 on Amazon Prime. So YouTube and Amazon, Hulu, things like that were really helpful. YouTube, especially for, I watched the musical and the play to check these off. So this was a lot of fun, and I did both of them. I watched the musical and read the book, and I read the graphic novel and I read the book. So I had a lot of fun with this. Caroline was my favorite. I watched the animation and then I read the book. That was fun. Heritage months. I did these in the month that they are. So June is LGBT, February was Black History, March Women's History, November Indigenous, April was Arab Heritage, May was Jewish Heritage, September, October was Hispanic Heritage, July was Disability Pride, May was Asian Pacific Island Heritage. So I did those in the months that they were supposed to be in. Got that done. Translations was another tricky one for me. I've learned that I really don't like to read translation, because some of them you can really tell they're translated. Like the grammar's not all there. And it is what it is. It's a translated book. But I did pretty okay with this, although I did struggle with it a little bit. Mainly because, again, that's not something I really lean towards or move towards. And so having to hunt these down was a little tricky. So, but we completed it. Around the world, I did pretty okay with this. I struggled a lot with Australia. Um, and like I got them all done and it was good, and Australia hung out there for the longest time, and I finally got that one, so that's good. And then of course this last week I read Mad Mabel, which is set in Australia, which is a good book if you've not read it yet. It's a lot of, it's, I don't want to say it's fun, but it's a really good book set in Australia if you're still looking for an Australia book for whatever reason. So we completed Around the World. So it was where the author is from or where the book is set. So that's where I went with that. The Even Bigger Rainbow covers, got all that done. I did pretty good on this, and then I was left with gold and silver, and that took me forever, it seemed like. But we got it done. Read the quote. I did the quote to Infinity and Beyond, which is from Toy Story Buzz Lightyear. I added a personal challenge that books have to be a connection to movies, toys, space, or art. And I did that extra challenge because to and were two of my words, and they were pretty easy. So, but I got all those, which was kind of cool. Again, they had to do with art or toys or movie or space. So, Spooky Creatures. This one I thought was going to be kind of difficult as well because I don't typically read spooky creatures. I don't read about vampires and ghosts and fairies and zombies and all that. But I did okay with this. I did okay with this. Like I said, I don't typically read this kind of stuff, so I thought it was going to be a little more challenging than it was. So, Become the Avatar, Earth, Air, Water, and Fire. Excuse me. I went with, with them being on the cover, represented on the cover, Earth, Water, Air, and Fire. Got that done. Animals Are Better. I thought this one was going to be the easiest one when I first started HRCYED. But this one seemed to be a little challenging. I kind of had a few of them that lingered for a while. It took me a while to get this one done. But we got it done. Zoo animals, wild animals, farm animals, exotic pets, and house pets. Complete a readathon. I tackled 2. I did Banned Book Week was October 5th through 11th. How many banned books can I read this week? That was my readathon. I read 4. I had a few more penciled in, but I read 4. The other readathon I didn't 100% complete it, but I was okay with it because I 100% completed this. Was reading about writing. So in the back of my mind, in the back of my back burner of life, I'm trying to write a book, and I have all these books about writing. And so I wanted to challenge myself to read some of those books on writing. And I did pretty good. I'll tell you, this book here, the book You Were Born to Write, I have it in physical form. And that's probably why I didn't get to it. All these others I audiobooked. So, but I'm pretty proud of that one. Queer Alphabet, got all that done. Intersex was the hardest for me. It kind of lingered. A lot of these prompts, I had majority of them done, and I was down to like needing 1 or 2 before I could color my bingo square, and this was one of them. And Intersex was the hardest one for me to tackle, but we tackled it. Your favorite HRCYED 1 prompt. I chose 2. I didn't participate in HRCYED 1. So I wasn't familiar with them, but I chose 2. The prompt I chose was read a book for every season in that season. I loved this, and I'm going to probably do it again this year. I was hoping that HRCYED 3 had something similar, which they do. She does have that, because she has a HRCYED mashup, so I could incorporate it. I still may. I haven't decided, but I enjoyed doing that. Read a book for every season in the season. The other prompt I did was read a book that features a recipe that isn't a recipe book. Make that recipe. So I read Love and Saffron. The one bean salad recipe is here. I did not make this recipe yet, but I will. It sounds good, but again, I read the book. So, you know, since I completed this, I'm okay that this prompt is completed. Again, I did 2 just to, because I couldn't decide really. So yeah. BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, Person of Color. This one was pretty plain and simple. New releases, I thought this was going to be the hardest one for me, honestly. Aside from the by the 100s. I thought this one was going to be really hard because I don't keep up with new releases. I just read whatever I want to read. I don't keep up with, oh, this comes out next month, I got to pre-order, and I just don't do that. So this was interesting because it had me doing that. Like, what comes out next month? What comes out this month? And I read some newer books, so that was kind of cool. Yeah. So I like I said, I was surprised that I was able to keep up with this, to keep up with this challenge and all that, because again, I don't read new releases mostly. So this one here in May, called Walking with Shadows by Jordan Brooke. I did this for May. This was a coworker. I no longer work there, but she was a coworker of mine. She published an ebook, and so I read it. It was a novella. It was a quick read. And I had her sign it just because, you know, it was a novella. It was an ebook. And so I didn't have the actual physical copy for her to sign, but I had her sign there. So there you go. Challenge Yourself. This one I did a little different. I didn't read any books, mainly because I had those extra prompts and extra challenges throughout the challenge. But I did, I challenged myself to post 15 bookish videos to my new YouTube channel, Bookshelf. Now, here I am again. I will say this, from February till now, it's July 6th, 7th, whatever day it is, I have not been on YouTube, on my book channel or my art channel. I've had a lot of life changes, and I'm just now getting back into the groove. So, but before all that, I managed to get, 15 books. This was a challenge for me because I wanted to get my channel going, and I did it. And then, like I said, life happened. So maybe I need to revisit this challenge and do some more of it. So, nonfiction. I had no problem with this. This one I wanted more. I'm a nonfiction nerd totally. And so this one I completed this in August. So, I mean, it was super easy for me to tackle. Again, I wanted more of this nonfiction because, again, I'm a nonfiction nerd. And so this one was no problem. I knew it was not going to be a problem. The only problem was deciding which 5 I wanted to count for this. So here comes my secret prompts. I did 2 of them. I had space for all of them, but again, I had trouble keeping up with where the prompts were and the dates and all that, and so we just kind of abandoned that. So, and then the last one is Q's Reviews. I struggled with this a little bit, mainly because I don't watch a lot of reviews on YouTube, book reviews and all that, mainly because, I just don't. So anyways, we got this done, Cozy Mini, full vlog, and everything is tuberculosis. One of the things that this prompt was to agree or disagree with her review or rate it and all that. I don't rate my books. I don't review my books. And so that was kind of a struggle for me. But thankfully, there was only 3 of them, and we got it done. So there you have it. That's HRCYED 2. We are complete. I'm pretty proud of how far I got with it. Again, I knew that was going to be a struggle, and I figured that one, excuse me, and again, the new releases, I figured those 2 were going to be my biggest, but I'm pretty pleased with this. So there you have it. HRCYED 2 is in the books. It's in my reading journal, and I'm done with it. I'm going to move on to HRCYED 3. I am participating, and I'll do a video soon with my HRCYED 3 setup. I'm also going to do a video of my complete reading journal flip through, because I've got a whole bunch of other challenges in here. So anyways, that's HRCYED 2, one for the books, and we are done with it. Thanks for joining me. I will see you guys soon. Bye for now.